risk that we're assuming. And so is the agency we have that won't get any positive result. The numbers are real.
Solstice will revolutionize the way companies use computer networks. It will put ICX in the forefront of the industry.
Margaret, to get to that rosy future, we have to face the present.
Exactly. And this product launch for Solstice will be the most significant event in ICX history. It will have a major impact on our growth, our profits, and our customers, and hopefully our competitors. It has to be done right. Which brings us right into the present. It's time to talk trade shows. Howard? Howard.
What about trade shows? Trade shows have never produced much of anything in the way of result.
That's right. That's because we've never given trade shows 100% effort before. But I want us to be prominent at NetCon this year. I want to have an exhibit that says we're important in the industry. I want us to stand out. You know, like that interactive virtual reality demonstration they had last year.
Which cost a fortune.
All right, okay, maybe not that big, but we have to create an identity that's consistent with Solstice. And Solstice will make us a major player. We have to start acting like one. We can't get by with that fold-up backdrop and that 10x10 booth anymore.
I don't get it. Why all this emphasis on NetCom when we have so little to show for our past appearances there?
True. On the other hand, we've never really put any great investment in NetCon. Certainly our most modest marketing channel.
It's true, we haven't seen any great contribution to sales, but I say you get what you pay for.
That's right. And our booth at NetCon last year was ordinary. We weren't organized for sales or marketing or much of anything except just showing up. But Solstice will put ICX into a whole new market that will be the backbone of this business in 3 years. And NetCon's where we get our best prospects in the same room.
Margot, do you remember how many companies exhibit at NetCon? The place is the size of 3 football stadiums.
Then all the more reason to do what it takes to stand out from the crowd. It's not that difficult, Howard, if we think creatively. Solstice could be the talk of NetCon if we all get behind it.
Selling has never been more competitive, more challenging for your customers and for you. More competition means increased pressure to innovate, to capture a larger piece of sometimes shrinking markets.
That makes sense.
It's not that simple. We've already signed off on the marketing plan, so is the agency. We can't just start changing things now. We can't say, add this, take this out, without affecting everything else.
What would we take out? I thought the budget had room for contingencies.
Yeah, contingency is one thing, but the way we're talking about NetCon, this is entirely different. This is an enormous expenditure.
Right. Everything we throw into NetCon subtracts from the ICX image ads and the trades. It forces us to rethink the video. It trims something from the PR. We can't do it all.
Scarce or overextended resources mean finding creative ways to do more with less.
We already have a sound marketing plan. Now, throwing unplanned money into NetCon just throws off the budget. And what assurances do we have that we'll get any positive results?
Bill?
Sure, our trade show results have been, well, less than spectacular, and I'll take some of the responsibility for that, but we have never dedicated the resources before. I think that'll make a difference. I'm going to go along with you on this one, Margot. I think it's a must for the Solstice launch.
Jennifer?
Well, I'll take another look at the numbers. I don't see how yet, but I'll see what I can do.
Good. And remember, I've got investors looking over my shoulder. They want to see us look important. They want us to use our best efforts to attract the major customers. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, Howard, we're going to have to learn the trade show business, too.
As your customers are being asked to do more, they are faced with more choices and more complex choices. They must strive harder to find answers.
The point is that we have never done trade shows in a big way. It's an unnecessary risk that we're assuming.
So minimize the risk. Find out what's going on in the field, bring in the leading trade show companies, and let them offer their ideas and their experience.
Pick their brain.
More and more, smart companies turn to their suppliers not just for products and services, but for advice, information, education, know-how.
Move on, please. Can we move on? We will have a booth at NetCon. It will be a good booth. No, it will be a great booth. It's your project, Howard. I know you can make it happen. It's up to you.
It's up to me. Sure, I can make it happen, but is it right? Can it work? Who knows? Sure, I can make it happen, but is it right? It's up to me. Can it work? Who knows? Can it work? It's up to me. Who knows? Can it work? Sure, I can make it happen, but is it right?
who knows?
Today's customers are looking for a salesperson who will become a consultant, someone who will become a partner in their success by helping them satisfy their needs. A need is a customer's desire to improve or accomplish something.
I want to have an exhibit that says we're important in the industry. We have to create an identity that's consistent with Solstice.
When the customer's needs are understood and addressed, the selling process proceeds to a next meeting, to a sale, to a long-term relationship built on mutual trust and respect. This is the heart of need satisfaction selling. Its core skills are practiced by the salespeople you will be observing during the seminar. Jeff Daly, Sally Rutledge, and Michael Grant. Selling can be looked on as a journey, one you take with your customer. That journey begins with the first sales call. You begin each call by opening a dialogue with a customer, deciding together what you will do on the call. Since the journey's final goal is a mutually beneficial decision about working together to satisfy the customer's needs, you will have to probe for information about those needs. You support the journey by sharing information about how your products and services can satisfy the customer's needs. To close each sales call, you and the customer agree on the next steps for moving forward. It is the salesperson's responsibility to see that the journey goes smoothly. These four skills, opening, probing, supporting, and closing, are the navigational tools you will use to keep on course. And as we will see, professional salespeople use them every time they meet with a customer. The sales journey won't always be easy. Some customers will be indifferent to you and your products or organization. Working through that indifference to show them the possibilities which lay beyond is one of the biggest challenges you'll face. Likewise, you may encounter customer concerns, skepticism, misunderstandings, or drawbacks. Resolving these concerns is one of your responsibilities on the journey. During this seminar, you will follow 3 accomplished salespeople representing 3 separate companies as they compete to serve the needs of ICX in its new venture into the trade show arena. Only one of them will get the business.
I'm always checking with the customer. No, I don't mean asking for the order, but simply making sure the customer's with me. If you don't do that, you wind up talking to yourself. Then you wonder why you didn't get the sale. The way I see it, I get paid to meet the customer's needs. The more they succeed, the more I do.
I have to be a marketing expert, a design consultant, a financial advisor, a schedule coordinator, a staff trainer, but it's all focused on the customer.
Success, success, success. It all comes down to success. Don't get me wrong, I'm not in it just for my success. The customer's success is the really important thing. But the two do go together.
See if we have an annual report on a company called ICX and any articles or press releases on their new product, Solstice. Yes, they're public. Oh, could you get that, please? Thanks.
I need some great photos from the stuff we did last year at NetCon. Something impressive. Can you pull that material?
Search parameters. ICX.
Can you fill me in on the exhibit you worked on last year at NetCon?
Brochures. Schedule. Testimonial letters.
It's showtime.
minutes of any sales call set the tone for the meeting. Will customers perceive you as someone who is there to help? Will they value the time they spend with you? Or will they feel you're just trying to sell them something whether they need it or not? Opening a call properly is more than creating rapport or putting the customer at ease. That's important, of course, but a sales call is a business meeting, and like every business meeting, it should have an agenda.
If you don't mind, I'd like to start that process with you today.
It might be helpful if you could fill me in on what
What
you're...
I'd like to do today is spend some
Professional salespeople not only propose an agenda, but make sure the customer understands its value.
That way we'll have a better sense of where it is you want to go and be able to find out the best way of getting there.
Finally, professional salespeople get the customer's input and acceptance before moving on.
Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
How does that sound?
This deceptively simple process, proposing an agenda, stating the value to the customer, and checking for acceptance, will ensure that you and your customer are headed in the same direction from the very beginning.
Rapport only gets you so far. Sooner or later, you have to deliver.
I think it's my job to take the initiative by setting an agenda. That's one of the services I provide my customers.
I'm always trying to think ahead to what the customer will get out of our time together. I can't begin to tell you what a time saver it is. Just taking the customer into consideration.
My customers look to me to provide the guidance system. Customer's always the pilot, but the salesperson's the navigator.
By setting an agenda, I'm opening a dialogue. If the suggestion isn't helpful, the customer will say so. Then we can work together on an agenda that makes sense for them.
I'm a businessman, like them. So I'm businesslike. I say, here's what I propose as our agenda. Here's how I think this approach will be helpful to you. How does that sound?
Please, make yourself comfortable.
Oh, thank you. Well, thanks for the tour. It's interesting. It reminds me of a college campus.
Well, that's the idea. It gives us a place where we can all think deep thoughts and be creative.
Is it working?
Well, we picnic a lot in the summer.
Hey, that's not so bad. Now, I know that you've only blocked out about 45 minutes or so for our meeting, so if you don't mind, perhaps we should move ahead so we can cover everything.
Mm-hmm.
What I'd like to do today is spend some time in an information gathering mode. Once I have a better idea of exactly what it is you want to do, I'll be in a better position to go back and put together a proposal that will cover everything and best meet your needs. How does that sound?
That sounds fine, except I was hoping to get a look at what you've done in the past to see if the exhibits you do will work for us.
Oh, that's no problem. I have plenty of glossies to show you. Here. Why don't you just keep those out in front of you and we can refer to them while we talk, okay?
Okay.
Good. So tell me, what are you looking for?
I really like your software. The great thing is it's so easy to set up. Would you believe I've got my laptop hooked into a network at home?
That's good to know. We put a lot of the same ideas to work in Solstice. Have you done a lot of work at NetCon? I mean, have I seen any of your booths there?
Oh, yes, yes. And I'll be happy to show you some examples of our work a little later. In fact, one of the reasons our clients turn to us for big shows like NetCon is the care we take in getting to know what it is they want to accomplish. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to start that process with you today. That way we'll have a better sense of where it is you want to go and be able to find out the best way of getting there. For example, why did you decide to exhibit at NetCon in the first place?
Well, we've always had a presence at the trade shows, so not exhibiting was never really an option.
Mm-hmm. But you're obviously considering a fairly large display this year. Why the change in scale?
Solstice, plain and simple.
From what I just saw of Solstice, I can understand why you'd want to show it off a bit. What else do you hope to accomplish with your NetCon appearance?
Look, could we back up for a minute? I just want to make sure we're going to see some examples of what you've done for other clients. Please, come on in. Have a seat.
Would you, like a cup of coffee or anything?
No, thanks. But don't let me stop you.
Oh, I reached my caffeine limit hours ago. I'd just as soon move ahead.
Great. Now, you said on the phone that you were in an exploratory phase.
Right. No commitments at this point. We're just looking.
I understand. It's a smart thing to do. Since it would be our role to help translate your advertising and marketing goals into the trade show medium, it might be helpful if you could fill me in on what your overall marketing plan for Solstice looks like. That way we'd both be clear on what the goals are. Then we could spend some time exploring ways in which we might be able to work together to meet those goals through NetCon and beyond. You'd get a sense of the kind of technical capabilities we have and the way we develop marketing partnerships with our clients. At the end of 40 minutes or so, you'd be in a position to decide how to move forward, if moving forward seems to make sense. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, frankly, I'd like to see some examples of what you do at some point, just to get a picture in my head so I have a better idea of what we're talking about.
It's a very good idea. Tell you what, I've got brochures, photographs, and floor plans of the kind of work we do. Why don't I use them to illustrate points as we go along? That way you'll not only get to see what we do, but have a better idea of what's behind it. How's that?
That's what I'm looking for. I just have better things to do with my time, that's all.
Explain, please.
I'm seeing 5 salespeople. 5. Do you know how much time that takes?
Don't worry, I've done my homework. I'm seeing him tomorrow. There's a lot I need to find out.
Come on, Howard, the truth is we need this.
You want to know the truth? The truth is I'm doing this under protest. I'm still not convinced this is in our best interest at all.
How's it looking for ICX?
Good. I've laid it all out. What I already know and what I need to find out. All very logical.
This looks good. Very complete.
Then why are you seeing 5 salespeople?
Just because I don't think we should do it doesn't mean it shouldn't be done right.
Vary the open and close probes and get the customer talking, and when he's got information to share, let him talk.
5 meetings, the same routine each time. So I'm trying to do it
Look,
right.
I hate to interrupt you mid-whine, but can I ask a question? What is your objective?
What?
What is your objective in setting up these meetings?
I want to get great exhibit ideas for the Solstice launch. To get the best booth our budget can buy, to find someone who'll work with me. To help us get organized so we know what we're doing, and to assure us that this trade show will support the marketing plan and not upset it.
Great. Now all you got to do is find the company that can do all that. Find a salesperson who understands what you need and can deliver it. How hard can that be?
Professional salespeople use probing to help them understand their customers' needs. They probe to understand all the needs, to build a complete picture. They probe to understand each need clearly, discovering not just the what, but the why, often finding the need behind the need. And they probe to be sure that their understanding is the same as their customers. Successful probing uses a combination of open and closed probes. Open probes encourage customers to speak freely.
Tell me about your plans for...
What happened when you tried that?
Why did you decide to make this move now?
How do you feel about this?
Closed probes pin down specifics and confirm understanding.
How many employees do you have?
Does your company have a policy in place?
So solving that problem is your top priority.
I may be the expert on my products, but the customer's the expert on his situation. And until I understand where the customer's coming from, I can't begin to know how I can help. That's why I ask questions.
When I'm working with a customer to understand a need, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion. Just asking simple questions. What are you looking for? Tell me more about that. And why is that? What do you mean? The further you go, the more useful the answers. Then I check to make sure I really understand the answers.
When I was starting out, I was afraid to ask too many questions. But gradually, I saw that asking questions works. I can ask them questions that really get them to think.
You don't give up control of the call when you ask questions. Just the opposite.
The other big thing is you have to listen. Really clear your mind and listen. Now, I'm curious about the demonstration of Solstice. You indicated that that was very important. What did you have in mind?
We need to have a really exciting demonstration. Now, we've talked about having it set up somehow so people can sit at a number of different workstations to get some hands-on feel of what Solstice can do for them. Perhaps have a number of different scenarios for the major industries.
We've seen that exhibits with well-designed product demonstrations tend to be the most successful. Targeting your major markets also makes a lot of sense. It really can boost your results from the show. Which industries did you want to address?
Hard to say. We haven't determined what's realistic yet.
Okay, why don't we come back to that in a little while. First, though, let me ask about workstations. How many did you have in mind?
Well, that's something else we have questions about. We're not sure how to make that decision.
Okay, so at the moment you're pretty open on size and number?
Mm-hmm.
You're still in the concept stage.
Right.
Well, this is a good time to be interviewing potential suppliers then.
You said earlier that your previous trade show experiences have been less than ideal. I'd like to hear more about that.
Well, you know trade shows. It's long hours. You're on your feet all day. We really didn't do much planning, so our schedules were a little loose. There'd be times when there was nobody at the booth, and then there were times when we were all there. We could never really seem to get coordinated. Then we couldn't get clear on what message we wanted to deliver or how to deliver it. We'd find ourselves contradicting each other. Somebody would ask a question that the person at the booth wouldn't know the answer, so they would promise to call them after the show, and they never did.
What do you mean by contradicting each other?
Well, for example, somebody would come by the booth in the afternoon and we'd be talking about, say, delivery schedules. And then we would find out that Bill had told this person's colleague something completely different about delivery just that morning. Things like that.
I see. What have you tried to do to avoid these kinds of problems?
Well, not much really. I mean, we're pretty informal about these things. Usually, we're all trying to do several things at once at these shows. Cover the booth, check out the competition. Sometimes somebody's just there for a seminar. But we always figured if things got hectic around the booth, we'd all just pitch in.
What are your thoughts in terms of image? What do you want the ICX booth to say about your company?
Well, we'd like it to portray us as very cutting edge, ahead of the times. A breakthrough company that will help them open new markets and realize higher profits by showing them how to handle data in new and unexpected ways. Is that helpful?
Well, actually, that's just what I need. Because what we do is find a way of saying through design what you just told me in words.
More power to you.
Now, why are those particular images important to convey at NetCon?
Those are the major themes of the ad campaign, and it makes good marketing sense to tie it into NetCon.
I understand. A good exhibit reinforces and extends the marketing message. Tell me more about your ad campaign.
Well, here are the ideas we're working with for the Solstice launch. These should give you a start.
I see. Are there specific elements in these ads that you'd like to see echoed in your NetCon booth?
Well, we probably want to keep the same color schemes and reinforce some of the headlines, have it all carry through. Now, a lot of this is in the marketing plan.
Oh, good. I'd like to take a look at your marketing plan in detail. But for now, could you give me your perspective on the idea or image you feel is most important?
I really like the idea that Solstice will light the way to the top, like in this ad.
Yeah, good. So, just to recap, it's important for you that visually, the NetCon booth echoes and supports the themes of the ad campaign, especially the sun image you have here. Is that right?
You got it.
Hey, I expected to find you a crumpled heap on the floor and a pile of brochures, little salespeople's footprints all over you.
Oh, I survived, which is more than I can say for a couple of folks who called on me.
Yeah? Narrowing the field already, huh?
Two of them were a little too focused on what they could do instead of what I wanted, but three of them were good. I mean, they really took the time to understand things from my point of view.
I think we've got a great chance with this one. Our experience with their software is a real plus.
It was a good call. Once he felt at ease, he gave me a lot of information. I've got everything I need to build a strong proposal.
He really needs to be convinced. Trade shows haven't been a big deal at ICX, although he's got a real good marketing plan, looks like. I was very careful to show that what we can provide would support his marketing plan, not bend it out of shape.
Really? You know, for the first time, I'm starting to think that this NetCon idea might actually work.
That's great.
I mean, now all I have to do is figure out how to best accomplish what we want.
Once you fully understand a customer's needs, it's time to share relevant information about the specific ways your products and organization can help satisfy those needs. First, acknowledge the customer's need, showing that you understand and respect the customer's point of view. Then, describe relevant features and benefits. A feature is a characteristic of your product or organization. A benefit is what the feature means to the customer. Benefits are more meaningful to the customer than features, since it is the benefit that answers the customer's unspoken question. How does that help me and my company? When supporting a customer's needs, take care to describe both features and benefits. If you present just the feature,
We've been designing demonstrations for our customers for over 30 years.
the customer may say,
So what?
but when you combine the benefit with the feature,
For over 30 years, so we can be sure that the decisions on target markets and demo configurations will support the Solstice marketing plan and give you the best results for your money.
That's good to know.
you have the desired effect. Just remember that first, the customer must express a need, and you must probe to understand it clearly. If the customer hasn't expressed a need, he will feel you are pushing unnecessary solutions on him. If you don't clearly understand the need, you may present the wrong solution. Customer needs are central to professional selling.
I go about it in a very organized way. Probe to understand the customer's need. Really be clear about it. Confirm it with the customer. Then be very specific on how we can address their need, so they can see how we can help.
And it's so easy to be talking with a customer for 2 minutes and you really know exactly what they need. But you've got to pick the right time. If you start throwing features and benefits at them, they'll just turn right off. Then, of course, there are those times when you really know exactly what they need, and it turns out you're completely wrong.
It's easy for salespeople to forget that the customer doesn't know their products as well as they do. So they're going on about how we've got the best Henway in the industry. Our Henway can do this, and our Henway can do that, and all the time, the customer is sitting there wondering what the salesperson's talking about.
There are so many things that we can do for our customers that it's easy to get wrapped up in the tiny details and forget the big picture. I mean, it's really great that we can break down a display in one city and have it assembled 1,000 miles away the next day. But how does that support the customer's overall marketing goals? Well, quite a bit, actually. You just have to help the customer see that.
If the customer can still say, so what? You haven't gotten to the benefit yet.
It's like this big jigsaw puzzle. The customer has all these pieces which are various needs, and you've got all these pieces which are features and benefits. Now, for some of the need pieces, you might have a feature and benefit piece that's an exact fit. When the pieces fit together right, you have a nice picture. But if you try to force in pieces that don't fit, you wind up with a mess.
I'm curious about the demonstration of Solstice. You indicated that that was very important. What did you have in mind?
We need to have a really exciting demonstration. Now, we've talked about having it set up somehow so people can sit down at a number of workstations and get some hands-on feel for what Solstice can do for them. Perhaps have a number of different scenarios for the major industries.
We've seen that exhibits with well-designed product demonstrations tend to be the most successful. Targeting your major markets also makes a lot of sense. It really can boost your results from the show. Which industries did you want to address?
Hard to say. We haven't decided what's realistic yet.
Okay, why don't we come back to that in a little while. First, though, let me ask about workstations. How many did you have in mind?
Well, that's something else we have questions about. We're not sure how to make that decision.
Okay, so at the moment, you're pretty open on size and number?
Mm-hmm.
You're still in the concept stage.
Right.
Well, this is a good time to be interviewing potential suppliers, then. That way you maximize the possibilities of coming up with a successful exhibit. We've been designing demonstrations for our customers for over 30 years, so we have a very good idea of what works and what doesn't. Our staff will work closely with you to be sure that the decisions you make on target markets and demo configurations will support the Solstice marketing plan and give you the best results for your money. And speaking of money, since we already use your software and the computer-based exhibits we design, we're way down the learning curve on the technical hookups for the demos in your booth. That means you'll save the time and money it would otherwise take for a supplier to learn your software. And those resources can be put to better use where it counts the most, the design of your booth. Isn't that great?
I guess so.
You said earlier that your previous trade show experiences have been less than ideal. I'd like to hear more about that.
Oh, you know, trade shows. It's long hours, you're on your feet all day. We hadn't really done much planning, so our schedules were a little loose. I mean, there were times that no one was at the booth, and then there were times when we were all there. We never really seemed to get coordinated. And then we couldn't figure out what message we wanted to deliver or how to deliver it. We'd find ourselves contradicting each other, and somebody would ask a question that the person at the booth wouldn't know the answers, that they would promise to call them at the end of the show, and they never did.
What do you mean by contradicting each other?
Well, for example, somebody would come by the booth in the afternoon and we'd be talking about, say, delivery schedules. And then we would find out that Bill had told this person's colleague something completely different about delivery just that morning, things like that.
I see. What have you tried to do to avoid these kinds of problems?
Well, not much really. I mean, we're pretty informal about these things. Usually, we're all trying to do several things at once at these shows. Cover the booth, check out the competition. Sometimes somebody's just there for a seminar. But we always figured if things got hectic around the booth, we'd all just pitch in.
Many of our customers experience similar problems. One way to avoid these kinds of problems is having everyone at the booth well informed and performing professionally. We can provide training for everyone at ICX who will be working the NetCon booth. That way, you'll be assured that everyone is putting out the same powerful marketing message and projecting the desired image.
Mm-hmm.
Your salespeople already do this naturally, but a refresher course never hurts. How does that sound?
It sounds good, but is that really what we need?
Well, would it be important to staff the booth in such a way that you could be assured that customers would get accurate information regardless of who was working there?
Yeah, but I don't really see that as a training issue.
Perhaps I've misunderstood. Tell me how you see it.
And what are your thoughts in terms of image? What do you want the ICX booth to say about your company?
Well, we'd like it to portray us as very cutting edge, ahead of the times. A breakthrough company that will help them open new markets and realize higher profits by showing them how to handle data in new and unexpected ways. Is that helpful?
Well, actually, that's just what I need. Because what we do is find a way of saying through design exactly what you told me in words.
More power to you.
Now, why are those particular images important to convey at NetCon?
Those are the major themes of the ad campaign, and it makes good marketing sense to tie it into NetCon.
I understand. A good exhibit reinforces and extends the marketing message. Tell me more about your ad campaign.
Well, here are the ideas we're working with for the Solstice launch. These should give you a start.
I see. Are there specific elements in these ads that you'd like to see echoed in your NetCon booth?
Well, we probably want to keep the same color schemes and reinforce some of the headlines, have it all carry through. Now, a lot of this is in the marketing plan.
Good. I'd like to take a look at your marketing plan in detail. But for now, could you give me your perspective on the idea or image you feel is most important?
I really like the idea that Solstice will light the way to the top, like in this ad.
Yeah, good. So, just to recap, it's important for you that visually, the NetCon booth echoes and supports the themes of the ad campaign, especially the sun image you have here. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. You got it.
It makes sense that all elements of your marketing mix in the same message. Our project managers have a background in marketing, and our designers are also experienced in realizing marketing goals. They'll be working from your ads and the marketing plan, so you can be sure that the concepts for the booth will build on and enhance your key marketing themes. In fact, regular meetings between you and the design team are built right into our process. That assures that you get the booth you want, one that accomplishes what you want it to. Now, what all this means to you is that your booth will be a living, breathing extension of your marketing plan. Is that what you had in mind?
That sounds great.
Hello, I'm Susan Hancock with Corporate Furniture Systems. Recently, a local law firm decided to renovate and move into a nearby office building. I phoned to see who was handling the renovation and was connected to Jay Morton, the firm's senior partner. We spent some time on the phone discussing his firm's practice, types of clients, and the decision to move into a new building. Mr. Morton mentioned that his company needed a whole new approach to their furniture. So during the face-to-face call, I wanted to find out what he meant by that and explore ways Corporate Furniture System might be able to help. Congratulations on your new building, Mr. Morton. You must be eager to move.
We are, which is why I wanted to meet with you today.
Mr. Morton seemed anxious to discuss business. I decided to make an opening statement. On the phone, you mentioned you need a new approach with your office furniture. What I thought we'd do today is explore your ideas about that approach. That way, we'll be able to see if my company can help you achieve your objectives. How does that sound?
Fine. What would you like to know?
Mr. Morton had already expressed the need for a new approach, but I didn't understand specifically what he meant by that. Tell me more about that new approach. What did you have in mind?
Well, as you can see, we've simply added furniture as we've grown, putting new pieces wherever there was space. Worked in this building, but it won't in the new one. We need that modular type of furniture I've seen advertised.
I now knew that what he meant by a new approach was modular furniture, but I didn't know why he needed it. It sounded like it had something to do with the new building. Why modular furniture? Something about the new building?
The rooms are all different. Some are small, not all of them are perfectly rectangular, lots of different and unusual layouts. Since we're still growing, I want furniture that'll make efficient use of all the space. This furniture we have now just won't do that.
Based on our phone conversation and what Mr. Morton had just told me, I felt that I now had a clear understanding of the need. I decided to support. It's important, especially for growing firms, to make good use of all available space. We can help you do that with our line of modular furniture. Our cubicles, desks and chairs, cabinets and shelving provide solutions for unusual layouts, like the ones in your new building. This will help you gain that efficient use of space you mentioned. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, it is. Exactly.
Since Mr. Morton had accepted the benefits of our modular furniture, I wanted to find out what else he needed for the new building. What else are you looking for in new office furniture, Mr. Morton?
One thing's for sure. I don't want to repeat the problem we've got with the reception area in this building.
What's the problem with your current reception area?
The receptionist's desk, mainly. I want a new one.
I didn't know exactly why he wanted a new desk or what sort of desk he was looking for. I understand you want a new kind of desk, and we can probably help. But can you tell me why you want a different one, and what ideas you have for a new one?
Sure. You may have noticed when you came in that the desk was buried beneath stacks of paperwork. That gives the lobby a cluttered look. It makes a bad impression on our clients. Makes us look unprofessional. The problem is, our receptionist does more than just greet clients. We give her a lot of important work, and she needs space to get it all done. So I want a desk that'll let her spread her paperwork out, but won't make the reception area look like a paper jungle.
I can understand that. It's important that your lobby area makes a good impression on clients. Corporate Furniture Systems offers a complete line of two-tiered receptionist consoles. Here, let me show you some from our catalog.
Oh.
See, this one here, for example, will let the receptionist work on the lower surface. But all your clients will see is an orderly, professional-looking reception area. Would one of these work in your new lobby?
Yes, definitely. This is exactly what I was looking for. Console. Yes.
What else did you have in mind for the new offices?
Well, we've added quite a few partners over the past several years, and we'll add more as the business grows. The problem is that partners typically want to pick their own office decor. Now, I can understand that. I like to pick my own decor, too. But if everyone picks their own, we'll have problems.
I hadn't heard a clear expression of a need, so I couldn't probe about the need yet. I had to know more about what was going on. Why? What kinds of problems?
Without any restrictions, the decor the partners choose might be too different from each other. A consistent look in our new offices would complement the professional look of the reception area. Yet, I don't know what to do about offering the other partners a choice.
Let me make sure I understand. Are you looking for a decor plan that will allow the partners to express their individuality while at the same time promoting a consistent look to enhance your firm's professional image?
That's it exactly. I want variety, but also consistency, if that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. People are usually more comfortable in their offices if they're given a choice of decor. We offer wall panels in a variety of fabrics, wood veneers, and leather. There's enough variety to give your partners a choice, yet maintain that consistent, professional look you want. How does that sound?
Sounds like it would work out great.
Good. Now, you mentioned a moment ago that you've been adding partners and continue to do so. Does that mean you're going to be utilizing your existing space?
I know you can make it happen.
It's not that simple.
It's up to you.
It's an unnecessary risk that we're assuming.
But with those three salespeople, the meetings were different.
How so?
Well, they were productive. There was an agenda. We knew where we were going every step of the way, and at the end, we took a look at where we stood and made a decision on how to move forward. It was very professional and well organized.
So you took matters in hand and ran the meetings with the sure touch of a master, eh?
No, I didn't have to. They did it.
We've said that selling is a journey you take with the customer. When you use the skill of closing, you assure that the journey is progressing at a pace and in a direction that is comfortable for the customer and you. To close, you simply review the benefits previously accepted by the customer.
First, with our marketing-oriented approach during the design process, you can be sure that your NetCon booth will be a vital part of your marketing campaign, not just an afterthought.
Propose next steps for you and the customer.
I'd like to suggest a presentation of our proposal for next week.
And check for acceptance.
Is tomorrow morning a convenient time to call?
You'll use the skill of closing many times in the course of the selling process, at the end of each call, and when you ask for an order. If you cover the ground you lay out for the customer in your agenda, your planned close will be the natural next step in the honest and open dialogue you have with the customer.
Closing my calls in a professional manner is a valuable service I provide my customers. They appreciate the sense of structure and that I've thought through the next steps.
It's just as much for me as for the customer. It helps me understand where I've been and where I have to go.
Then you come to a point where you review the accepted benefits, and the next logical step is for the customer to place an order. It's a very easy and natural thing to do because you've been preparing the way all along.
Remember how I said I wanted someone who'd work with me to make this happen?
By closing at the end of each call, I make sure the customer is committed and ready to move forward.
Well, these three salespeople have all been helpful in getting us past the first step in making NetCon a reality for us. It's really going to be hard to make a choice.
Is there anything else?
No, I think we covered it all.
Well, good. Let's review what we've accomplished. We've discussed our 30 years experience and the integrated design approach, and you like that.
Right.
You also really like the fact that my company is already using ICX software when it networks computers for exhibit booths.
Yeah, I like that.
You're comfortable with our modular construction, and you really liked our pre-promotion program.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'd like to suggest a presentation of our proposal for next week.
All right, how about Wednesday at 9 a.m.? Does that give you enough time?
That'll work for me. We'll need the conference room. And can you ask the CEO to be there?
I'll work on it, no promises.
Good. I can't ask for more than that. I'll bring a complete cost breakdown and the references you asked for. Now, for the ideas for the hands-on demonstration, shall I bring a laptop?
Oh, don't worry, I'll have something set up for you.
Then I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m. in the conference room.
Right.
I feel like we accomplished a great deal today.
Me too. It was instructive.
Just to make sure we're together, let's sum up. And we identified three major areas where my company can contribute directly to the success of ICX's appearance at this year's NetCon. First, with our marketing-oriented approach during the design process, you can be sure that your NetCon booth will be a vital part of your marketing campaign, not just an afterthought. And second, with our promotion services, you'll attract more qualified prospects to your booth, and at the same time, get your message out to non-attending prospects. And third, the follow-up reports we provide will allow you to evaluate your return on investment. You'll know for the first time exactly what your NetCon appearance delivered. And you can use this information as a benchmark for future shows or to strengthen your position with your investors. Now, with all that in mind, I think the next step would be to move to a proposal, which I'd like to present to you and your CEO and whoever else you feel would benefit from sitting in. That way, you can make your decision, get your internal sign-off, and move forward quickly. How does that sound?
Good idea.
Fine. I can be ready in 3 days. When is a convenient time for us to get together again? Yeah.
How about next Thursday at 3?
Terrific. Who shall I expect at this meeting besides you and your CEO?
I'll bring the key people, Jennifer Harris, our CFO, and Bill Fry, the sales VP.
Fine. And I'll make sure to bring along some sample reports to demonstrate how we'll be able to document your NetCon results. Anything else we need to cover?
Just to review, you've agreed that our pre-show promotion program will enhance your other PR efforts, help you pre-qualify people who get demonstrations.
I'm sorry. Benson. Yeah. Okay, all right, Harry, I've got someone here with me. I'm gonna have to put you on hold for about a minute, okay? I'm sorry, I have to take this. It's really something I can't put off.
I understand, and we've really accomplished a lot today. Let me make a suggestion. Since things have gone so well, and you're pleased that our initial ideas will keep costs down and still deliver a great show, and since our pre-promotion program is on target to ensure that the right prospects come by your booth, why don't I give you a call sometime tomorrow to finish up? Is tomorrow morning a convenient time to call?
Can we do it early?
Sure. What's good for you?
8?
I'll call at 8 on the dot. Meantime, I'd like to meet with Willie as we discussed. Since he designed Solstice, he'll probably have some good ideas on how to demonstrate it.
You can find him right down the hall in the computer room.
Should I make an appointment?
Oh, not necessary. Just walk in the door and say hello. He's a little bit absorbed in his work, but he's a great guy.
Great. I'll give you a full report tomorrow. We can finish up in no more than 15 minutes.
Thanks a lot.
I called Carol Havey to introduce my company, Global Relocation Consultants, after I read in the local business journal that her company was opening 2 new offices, one domestically and one internationally. Carol is Director of Human Resources for a glass products company. She told me that several executives would be moving from headquarters to the new offices and was interested in meeting with me to learn how we might help with those relocations.
By the way, there's a small problem brewing in the factory. I may be getting a call on it. If I do, I'll have to cut the meeting short. Sorry.
That's all right, I understand. Do you think we still have time to talk, or should we reschedule?
I prefer to get started. Let's see how far we get.
Fine. As I mentioned on the phone, I'd like to spend our time today learning more about your upcoming relocation. That'll enable us to determine how my company might be able to help those relocations go more smoothly for your company. Is there anything else that you'd like to cover?
No, that sounds like a good plan.
Great. Then let's get started. You mentioned on the phone that several executives will relocate. Tell me more about your plans.
Let's see. 8 people are moving, 4 to the domestic office and 4 to the international office. This is the first time we've had to move anyone, and we want to make sure we do it right.
What do you mean by doing it right?
I want our people to have the help they need, especially in finding the right home in their new locations.
Could you elaborate on that? When you say the help they need, what sorts of things are you thinking of?
Well, you know, doing all the legwork, so when our people look for new homes, they're not wasting time looking at houses that don't fit their budget, or maybe too far from work, or not in the kind of neighborhood they have in mind. Wasting time like that is unproductive and stressful. We'd like to alleviate that stress so they can concentrate on their new jobs.
A lot of our customers have the same objective. Here's how we can help. Our home locator service is staffed by real estate professionals who will interview your people to determine their new home requirements and arrange to have your people view only those houses that meet their requirements. This helps reduce the stress associated with moving and helps your people focus on their new jobs more quickly. Is that the kind of thing that you're looking for?
Yes, it sounds like an excellent service.
What other relocation issues are you dealing with?
Our international relocations. You see, our people speak very little of any other language. The language classes we're sending them to now, well, we'd like to do better.
What's wrong with the classes they're currently taking?
Nothing. If people need to know phrases like, that tree is taller than that flower, or my niece is not my nephew. Seriously, the classes just aren't practical for business people.
I had some idea of what Carol was looking for, and I had a hunch why. But I wanted to hear everything in her own words, just to be sure I didn't support with an irrelevant feature or benefit. Are you looking for business language training?
Yes.
Why is that? Will your people need to conduct business in the local language?
Well, they won't be doing a lot of business in a foreign language, but we want to make sure they at least understand common business terms and etiquette. We don't want to offend any customers by not knowing the local business customs.
You're right to be concerned, Carol. Not paying attention to those issues can lead to uncomfortable situations with customers. We offer language training from instructors who specialize in business terminology and etiquette. They'll help your people avoid any embarrassments caused by unintentionally offending a customer. Does that sound helpful?
Absolutely. Sounds like you can provide a lot of what we need. Excuse me. Hey, V.
It sounded like Carol got the call she was expecting, so we were probably going to have to end the meeting. If so, I planned to close, since Carol had been enthusiastic about the benefits we had discussed. I felt the next best steps would be to conduct a needs assessment and then have a meeting with Carol and the CEO, Emil Stevens, to review the results. I'd ask Carol for her help in setting up both the needs assessment and the meeting with Mr. Stevens, who, as I mentioned earlier, will be involved in the final decision.
I'll get right over there as soon as I wrap up here. Give me about 10 minutes. We're gonna have to start to wrap up.
I understand. Why don't we briefly review what we've covered and talk about our next steps?
A good idea.
Now, the two things that you said were important to you in your upcoming employee relocation were helping your people find the right homes and providing appropriate language training. Our home locator service ensures that your employees view only those homes that meet their requirements. This saves them time and stress and helps them focus on their new jobs more quickly. Our language training focuses on business situations and will help your people avoid potentially embarrassing moments with international customers.
Right.
Now, I recommend first that we conduct a needs assessment with the 8 people who are moving. Then I'll meet with you and your CEO to review the results. If this plan makes sense to you, I'll need your help in setting up the interviews for the needs assessment and a meeting with you and Mr. Stevens. Okay?
Makes sense to me. Tell you what, why don't you walk out with me? On the way, I'll introduce you to my assistant, who can put you in touch with the people you need to see.
Great. We were able to do the needs assessment the following week. And as promised, Carol set up a meeting with Emil Stevens, the CEO. And that's our plan for helping make both your domestic and international relocations a success. Now, are there any questions that I haven't addressed?
Just one, Dan. We need to work with an independent relocation service.
Why is that important?
When I was with another company and we moved some employees, we found out, too late, unfortunately, that our relocation company was affiliated with an expensive moving company. I know we could have saved money if the relocation company had been independent, because they ended up passing on the moving company's high fees to us. I want to be sure that this time we work with a service that's looking out more for us and our interests.
It is important that all aspects of a relocation be as cost-effective as possible. Mr. Stevens, GRC is a completely independent firm with no ties to any moving company or any other company. This enables us to always make recommendations that are in your best interests. Is that what you're looking for?
Definitely. I must say, Dan, I'm impressed with your company. And you've done a great job.
I agree. Very professional.
That sounded like a strong signal to close. I started by reviewing the two benefits Carol and I had discussed the last time we met, and the benefit Mr. Stevens had just accepted. As a next step, I decided to ask for their agreement to submit and sign a formal contract. Thank you. Let's just summarize what we've discussed. First of all, since we're independent, our recommendations will always be in your company's best interests. We'll also help your employees save time and stress in looking for the right home through our home locator service. And our language training will help avoid uncomfortable situations with your international customers. Mr. Stevens, I propose that we draw up a contract outlining everything, including specific services and costs. Then with your signature, we can start the relocation process right away. Is that acceptable to you?
Send the contract over and I'll have our lawyers look at it. Strictly a formality. And if there are no problems at that point, we're in business.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. I'll have a contract relocated from our office to yours first thing in the morning.